What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to an all-new episode of TAETRO Talks. Thank you for joining me today, hanging out. We do this every single Tuesday. We have a nice little talk show. Sometimes we bring in guests, people from the industry. Like last week, we had on somebody from Bitwig that was showing us all the features of that DAW. We've had people from like Artifon. We've had people from Sensel. Showing us cool music tech stuff. We've also had other artists on this show. Sanjay C, Rachel K. Collier, Gnarly, just to name a few, Laura Escade. Lots of really cool artists. And then other times on this show, you all get to be the guest and call in. So today we have a call-in show where you can use that Zoom link that's at the top of the chat to call in and talk about today's subject at hand, or just in general, the creative side of being a home studio music producer, the more like philosophical side of things, less technical. Not trying to be anybody's tech support today, but nonetheless, please feel free to call in. And if you're shy about calling in, don't worry. It's not like you click that and get immediately put on stream. You get put into the waiting room, and then people will just hear your voice. They won't see you, so don't be too shy. I would love to hear for some new callers today. Again, the link is pinned to the top of the chat, but I'm also going to drop it in chat right now so you all can look out for it. And thank you all for being here and having a good one. Before we get into the main discussion today, I also just want to say we are brought to you by 343 TV, which is going to be taking off in full again next week, starting 1 week from today. I'll be doing my show, TAETRO Talks, but then there will also be 5 other shows that you all can learn music production from, with 5 other great instructors like John Selway, Abe Duque, a couple new instructors as well. Justin Beck will be there returning as well. So basically, you'll be able to tune into the 343 Labs YouTube channel every single day to learn something about music production. So get ready for that. New shows starting next week. Of course, 343 Labs is a music production school based in New York, Berlin, and online. So if you want to take a deep class with some expert instructors and a really amazing curriculum, 343labs.com is the place to go to check that out, no matter where you are in the world. Max Wild says, nice haircut. Thank you. I'm doing great, everybody. Thank you for being here, and thank you for hanging out in chat today. The topic at hand, making one track does not make you a music producer. Now, I know that sounds a little bit harsh. Potentially even maybe some people are triggered by that, because I think somebody noted in chat the stream hasn't started yet and it already has a dislike. But that's okay. That's what we're here to do. Stir the pot a little bit. I just wanted to show you that inspiration for this topic, because it is a topic that I think a lot about, especially when people call in and talk about their art or their music. But I saw this quote from a guy named Father Bronx on Instagram. He has a really cool podcast called Make Art Not Content that I can highly recommend, if you're not listening to the TAETRO radio podcast, of course. But this is a quote from him. You're not an artist because you create one piece of art. You're an artist because you create a body of work. And I think that's super important to remember, because what I see, of course, my audience is a lot of people just getting started in music production, a lot of people who are new to the world of music production, trying to find their way in the sort of like art world, I guess you could say. What often happens is that learning music production can be really difficult. You know, you learn the technical side of a DAW. You also have to learn how to play an instrument. You have to learn some theory to make your music actually sound good. Then what happens is you put all that work in, you make one track, and then you kind of just, okay, sit back, brush it off. Okay, that was good. That was easy. But it doesn't stop there. You can't just make one track and be satisfied. We don't live in a world where you can work on one magnum opus and release, one big work every year or something like that. It doesn't work like that anymore. You have to be constantly creating. That's what makes you a true artist. That's what makes you a true creative. That's what makes you a true musician, music producer. Because especially if you want to get opportunities, people are not going to look at just the work that you've done. You can't just create a small body of work or one piece and start shopping it out to people. People are going to take a closer look at what are you currently doing? What are you currently working on? And I'm proud to say that I see a lot of people in the chat make their first tracks and then immediately start onto the next one. So I think it comes down to a little bit too, like making one track, if you want to be a musician or music producer, whatever, is not a big deal. We have to get it out of our heads that it is a big deal. It is certainly an accomplishment. It's a thing you should be striving for. But when you hype it up as this big deal and put 100% of your energy into it, you have 0% energy left to go do the next thing. And for me, and my whole philosophy and moving forward is totally making something. But while I'm making something, I'm already thinking about the next thing, so that by the time that something releases, the next thing is already getting ready to get released, you know? You want to be mindful of that body of work, developing that body of work. That is what is on my mind today. Let me take a minute to say hello to everybody in chat, and then we'll start taking some calls. We got a couple people in the waiting room, so thank you for being there. I will take those calls in the order that they come. Link is in the chat. Make sure you grab that. Hi, Hunter Wiley over on the 343 Labs channel. Thank you for joining us over there. And to other folks in this channel, hello. Jeff, Ray Calvin, my mom and dad are in the chat. Exaggerate, hello. Thank you for being here. Digit HXI, hello. Bill Dollar says, hope everybody is lying on bed watching this. Well, I'm standing today, so I hate to disappoint. Per Lemming Widdis, special shout out to all the members, those people with the cool badges next to their name. We love to see it, supporting the channel, getting stuff for themselves by being a members. Suffist, thank you for being here. Sarah Roboski, hello, welcome. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm glad you're excited for today's stream. Silverback Orangutan, thanks for being here, says, what's up, my little beat fam? Hope you're all doing well. I'm off the grid. Nice. Oh, the AIs are fired? Nice. I'm glad you like them. Common Beats, thank you for being here. Rashane, Bishop 91. Bishop 91 with the rebrand. No longer Drunk Bishop. Lo-Fi, hello. Lo-Fi themselves, wow. Max Wild, I already said hello to. Hello, my friend, whose name I cannot unfortunately read in chat, but hello. Mahai, thank you for being here. Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Silent State, Rodrigo. Crystal McMullen, hello. Thank you for being here. It's been a while, folks. Oh, Julian, Groovius Maximus. Everybody's coming through in the chat. I appreciate that. So what do you all think about this? Are you all committed to creating a body of work? Do you feel like you get stuck on making one thing? I would love to hear your opinions. Please, call in. I see lots of you in the chat, and there's not that many people in the waiting room. I don't understand this. Click this Zoom link. Folks, I want to hear from some folks I haven't heard from on the stream before that want to talk about this. Bishop 91 says, can't wait to hear the calls today. Well, why don't you be one of the calls today? That's what I say. Like I said, don't be shy. Call in. Boy Down South says, Ayo, hope I'm not late. You are not late. You are just on time. We are about to get started with these calls. I'm going to take Digit HXI's call first. Before I do take that call, though, reminder to everybody that when I do take your call, to mute the stream. You're going to hear me through Zoom. Make sure your mic is selected in Zoom so that I can actually hear you. That's usually in the bottom left, a little microphone icon. Select your microphone, your audio input device. And just make sure the stream volume isn't on, or else we'll get a crazy echo. So let's kill the background music. And let's get Digit Hixie on here. Jace, what's good? Thank you for being here. While I make one thing, I normally think of something for another thing, and then can no longer focus on the first thing. Yes, that can also for sure be an issue.
Hello?
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hey, TAETRO. Good to hear from you, man.
Thank you so much for calling in today. How are you?
Doing good. Just on break. Just thought I'd chime in just for a little bit.
For sure. I would love to hear your thoughts on this subject.
Yeah, so it's an interesting topic because personally myself, I've been playing music since I was like 7.
Totally.
So for a long time. But I didn't actually start like actively trying to make something until I think my senior year of college.
Wow.
And yeah, long time. I was mainly playing classical music and everything.
Right.
And I was in a band like in high school, but you know, it just never panned out. Wasn't really anything. And but no, actively trying to make stuff in college, that was what was very difficult, and trying to learn actively like all mixing processes and really theory behind everything.
You were skill building.
Yeah, I was mainly just trying to see what I could do, and I think I still have the first like beat that I ever made,
Nice.
and the bass is so out of tune, but the feeling is there, and at that point I wouldn't have called myself a producer. I would have just called myself, someone that's trying to figure it all out.
For sure. I think sometimes
Um,
we trick ourselves into thinking that we can just infinitely figure it all out, like that we're going to be doing that forever. We never take the actual step that it sounds like you're taking now, where it's like, okay, I want to actually make some music.
yeah, and even still, I'm learning every day, but I would think that I'm more of a producer slash amateur mixing engineer these days now. I mean, even the track I sent to you, what was it? Over on Saturday, I think so.
Yeah,
And that was like I made that at like 9 a.m. that day, and I didn't finish until like 12 p.m. And and that was honestly the best mix I ever did. It was really solid. I was very proud of myself. So I
that's
wanted,
awesome.
so I just, yeah, I showed it to you on stream. It was cool. Very glad you used me as an example for all that. But yeah, man, the biggest thing for people is to just not lose that drive. Because I know, like I said before, I've always been in music. I've always been doing it ever since I was little. But if people really want to do it, it's not just a one and done thing. There's so many things, so many beautiful things people can make, and so much emotion that can be just portrayed through every work that you do.
Totally. And the range of emotions. That's why the body of work is important too, because you're never just feeling one thing. We're all human. We're feeling different things, experiencing different things. Your body of work is going to depict it doesn't have to be autobiographical, but it's going to depict a range of things, not just one thing. And when you focus on just one track, it limits you so much into what you're expressing.
Exactly. And even when I listen back to my stuff and seeing the period of time where I was at, like there was a time where I was just completely raging, and like just trying to make the most hype music as possible. And
Right.
then there was a time where I just wanted to be happy, and then just have a bunch of wordplay, and sometimes it just met in the middle. And now I'm just doing whatever I want, whatever that makes me happy, whatever I'm feeling at that moment.
It's a beautiful thing.
Definitely is, and I encourage everybody who's watching, and even everyone who's not watching, to stick with it. It's not easy, but there's a lot of fulfillment out of it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I can say the same for myself. Thank you so much for that call. That was a great way to kick off today's calls.
No problem, Tatro. Thanks, man.
Have a
Appreciate
good
you.
one. Great first call. Thank you, Digit XC. Folks, we can go a little bit longer today if we need to, which means that there is space in the waiting room. So here is a link, Zoom link. Click on in. You heard it. Digit speaking fine. Nothing to be afraid of or shy about. I would love to hear from some of you. Oh, Drummy Geo is over in the 343 Labs chat. I'm going to bring in Ryan for a moment because I have some other stuff to talk about, but I just want to say hello to some people that just popped into the chat, like Antoine, I thought I saw. Yes, Antoine joined. Thank you for being here. And a lot of good points being made in the text chat, which I'll dive into in a moment. But let's get Ryan on the line. And let's hear what Ryan has to say in a moment. As he joins, I'll read some chat. Oh, Guarav, thank you for being here as well. Guarav Nath. And Ryan is here. We're just going to ask to unmute, and then we should be good to go. Hi, Ryan. How's it going?
Hi.
Thank you for calling
It's
in.
going good. Yeah, I really like this live streams. It's just really good.
Thank you.
Like,
I appreciate that.
This topic today, it's really interesting. I think I agree with it. I 100% agree with it because I think every day, like I think it's more about how much you make, and it's not like how much you put into like one project. If you feel like you could do the arrangement, the mix, and everything, then you should. I say instead of going in grinding about like another idea, you could fully work into that idea.
Right.
That's a thing I learned very recently because earlier, I can't really make melodies. I'm sad about that because I never learned music theory properly.
Right.
So what I did was like I just take loops from people. Like I'm in this Discord and like they make loops and everything. So I use their loops and everything.
Cool.
But like yeah, you should just really see my like packs and everything. Like I have like over 50 like, packs on there. Like, I don't know what to do with them sometimes.
Yeah,
So
well,
like
you got to start releasing some stuff. You got to start getting it out into the world.
yeah, but like I have this problem where like my Wi-Fi like finishes in like 4 days and it doesn't like come back after like a month. So like
Uh,
I just have a lot of projects. So I'm just trying to find one that I can properly release. But yeah,
totally.
anyways, about this topic, like I saw in the chat also earlier, like someone just said like it's about like finding the perfect mood you're in. Like if you're like I just worked on this Juice WRLD guy with this rapper I found in Discord, and he's really good. We were working and I noticed that for the first time that I didn't, like click in like 50 loops. I just clicked one and I felt, okay, I'll just work with this. Like, it's not about like whether you like the loop or whatever you're using. It's just if you can finish it, do it. It's not whether you like it or not. That's how I saw it.
Yeah.
And that has helped me like a lot really, because like in the end, like it's just a matter of like, it's like people want, you just have to make something that people want. It's not whether you like it or not. In like that's the harsh reality I see. Because one thing you have to like what you're doing, but the other thing is that you have to remember that people are also watching what you're doing. So to satisfy them, you have to like do something that they want. That's what artists do these days. Like where I'm from, rappers over here, like they switch genres. Like last week there was like a traditional song, and then the same artist he released a new track that's like EDM
Yep.
based because in the track the comments were like people were like just put something more hyped up and like he said he like in an interview one day he said he doesn't really like EDM but he still did it. So it's just like that. And yeah, one track doesn't make you a producer. Like look at like let's just take internet money for this instance, like Nick
Sure.
Mera, like how many things he had to make like just to get the name as Nick Mera, the god of production. That's how I see him.
Yeah, and that group is so
But yeah,
prolific now. That like that talk about a body of work. That group and those producers are putting out so much that it's undeniable that that's what they do for sure.
and like I know the another member Pario, yeah, so like he's still 17 and yet he earns like six digits. It's crazy to know that. But like, I watch his interviews, I watch many people's interviews just to get an idea of how they do it. And it's like they like had to spend months or years even just releasing music
Right.
type beats and then only get recognition. So it's just a matter of fact, like it's more now in this case, it's more of a quantity over like quality in this case.
I think it's
But
both.
you have to make sure.
But I think people
Yeah.
over stress on quality, and because we are our harshest critic, we tend to think our work is not high enough quality when really it is, and that your quality is fine. But we use quality as an excuse to not create the quantity. You know what I mean? Like we say,
That's
oh,
another problem.
it's not good enough, so I can't make more. I have to go learn this other thing, or I have to do whatever. Like we use that as an excuse a lot of the times. When undoubtedly, if you go for quantity and you just keep making and making and making, your quality will undeniably go up because you'll just get better and better. It's practice.
Yeah, it's just like these YouTubers nowadays. Like you, Simon Sinek, all them, they started from a certain point, right?
Exactly.
And, like, they learn mistakes and everything. Like it's just crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the topic is just you don't even need to talk about this. That's how I see it. Like you don't need to talk about it. It's just common sense when you see it. Like it does not make you a producer just because you make one EDM track or one R&B, hip hop,
Right.
soul, whatever you're making. It's just one track isn't enough to impress a billion people. That's how I see it.
Right. Well, thank you so much for the call, Ryan. I really appreciate it. That's a lot of good insight, a lot of good points.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Cheers.
one. Yeah, I saw some stuff in the chat too. So how would you explain this from Paul McGinnis? How would you explain one-hit wonders in pop music, for example, then producers are still working on other projects? That's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a producer that gets one song recognized or an artist that gets one song recognized. These people have a body of work. They're in the position to be a quote unquote one-hit wonder, which usually every one-hit wonder, there's an album behind or there's other projects behind anyway. But there's a body of work that led them to that position to make at least one big hit. But just because they made a one-hit wonder doesn't mean they don't have other work. So that's not really relevant. And there were a lot of good points in that last call about, quantity over quality. And I do think that it's true that we over analyze our own quality at a certain level. When it's really in the eye of the beholder, and we're not making music just for ourselves. And there was another good point in there about like releasing something even if it's not something that I would listen to, because how many big songs are on the radio that are big songs but you don't like? You're just one person, one opinion, but that song ended up on the radio somehow. You know how it goes. Bishop says, is that a new tattoo? It is. Where have you been? Well, it's not that new. It's maybe like a week old at this point. But yes, kind of new. All right, let's keep going with calls. I had something else to say. That call got me going in so many directions, but I'm sure I'll come back to it at some point. H. Wiley. Let's get you in here. Is this Hunter? Hunter Wiley, let's get you in on the call. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Hey, how's it going, TAETRO?
It's going great. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, thanks for taking the call.
What do you got? What do you think
it's
about
kind
this?
of going off the last comment and question. It's the same idea of like when you're going to work on a track that you've been working on, and you go to work on it, but you just kind of have this feeling like, oh, I'm dreading this, or it's no longer giving you that excitement.
Yeah.
What do you like to do? Do you take some time away from it, take like a week away from it? Or because I start kind of getting, even with a reference track, I kind of get lost in the mix, and then I go back to it a week or two later, and sometimes I'm fresh and a new perspective, but a lot of times I'm just hoping for to get that enthusiasm back for that particular track, instead of just being like, oh, I want to start something new and a clean set. Yep. Where I'm not confused on the what compression I'm doing, or
yeah,
just what I'm saying.
Well, I think, man, I just kind of like had a moment like this. And 100% comes down to discipline, because you for sure can at any moment jump ship and just start a new track. And kind of like you were just alluding to, starting to make a new track is like a little bit easier. And because it's a little bit easier, it's a little more fun. Now, why is it easier? Why is it fun? Maybe because we're a little better at composing than we are at the actual technical side of mixing and sound design or whatever, which I know that's true for me. I much more enjoy composing because I'm much better at composing. And then once it gets down the line to like the technical side and it comes time to mix and master and all that stuff, I am not an expert, and I frustrate myself in a lot of ways because of that. So for an example, a couple days ago, so I'll have a track, another TAETRO track coming out in a couple weeks, and I really wanted to finish this track that's just been sitting there. And I was in a similar position to you. I was like, I kind of lost the energy, the excitement for the track. It doesn't mean that the track changed. It just got hard. Like the finishing touches got hard, and really bringing it home, bringing it all the way home. It got difficult. So I was avoiding and avoiding and avoiding for the most part. So instead, I sat there and I started to work on it. I had done one mix revision already. I sat there. I mixed it again. So now third mix revision. And then what I usually do is I export it, listen to it on AirPods, listen to it over another pair of speakers, and then figure out what's wrong with it, or like what else needs to be fixed, and go back and forth.
Do you ever make a rule with yourself? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, to cap the mix, the amount of times that you do a mix. I know, because sometimes I'm like, mix version 25.
Right. Well, there's no hard and fast rule. However, like I just said, when I was doing the mix number 3, okay, there's something wrong with it. Okay, go back. Let's do one more thing. Adjust that one more thing. Now we're on mix revision 4. By the time I get to mix revision 4, my brain is like jello, and I'm like, what else can I even do? Like, I know that something needs to be fixed. And in that moment, I really had two choices. I could walk away from the project and it could be left hanging again, and maybe I'll come back to it. Or maybe I just like wouldn't come back to it. Like, you know, it's like there was two choices there. So I decided to sit there and just continue to work on it. And mix revision 4 turns into 5, turns into 6, and finally ended at 7. And every single time I hit export, upload to Google Drive, listen to on this other system, I wanted to stop. Like, I wanted to say, like, I am over this, or like this, I'm not getting anywhere or whatever. But by the time I get to number 7, it actually sounded pretty good. And then to answer that last question that you just said, do I limit myself? When I got to mix number 7, I like, is it quote unquote perfect? You know, for sure not. But it's the best I can do in this moment. And I couldn't see any more things that I could do. There were no clear things that I could do to improve it. So that is the moment that I said, okay, it's done. I compared it to some other tracks, my own tracks. And I realized that it was living up, and I said, okay, that's good. That's good enough. And sometimes good enough is good enough, you know, because you can't just dwell. But like that night, in that moment, I could have very easily have said, oh, all right, I'm on mix revision 4. I'll just come back and do it again another day. I need my ears to rest. Or I could power through and push through and get it done. And I'm happy that I did, because that's the only way I'm going to have momentum.
Yeah.
So it's discipline. It's literally discipline sometimes. Sometimes your ears for sure need a break. Other times it's just like, what's pulling me away? Like, why am I in a rush to get away from this? And I'm not going to feel any better delaying this anymore. So I need to sit here and just get it done. And even though I was feeling like kind of disenfranchised with the music during that process, now that it's done and it's going to be out, I am actually really proud of it. So it's like it comes full circle. You just have to, it's a hump you have to get over. It's not like an infinite, you automatically hate this track for the rest of your life now.
Hopefully not, right?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for that feedback and advice on that.
Totally. Well, keep going. It's hard and it doesn't always feel good, but if you keep going and you keep pushing yourself, the accomplishment of finishing will be the thing that keeps you going.
Yeah. Somebody once told me that we're always making improvements, we're always learning. So yesterday's track and yesterday's mix is by definition hopefully going to be not as good as
today's. Exactly. For sure. 100%.
And so that's the paradox we're in.
Yep. And then we have to live in that reality and say, okay, well, by that theory, I could either not ever put out music because I'm waiting for tomorrow and tomorrow never comes, or I could just do the best that I can today and put that out. Thank you so much for the call, my friend. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, dude. Take care.
Have a good one. We have a naysayer in the chat. Let me see. Where did it go? I lost it. Oh, well, yes, this is really like chat. I'll put out the pre-save link and stuff soon for like the next track that's coming up. But I was really in that moment. I'm really glad I finished that track, because we could literally never finish music if we have that mindset of like, it's going to be better tomorrow, or I'll come back to it. It's like, do the best that you can in the moment, even if it is tedious. Paul McGinnis says, I disagree. Loads of artists get picked up off the back of a couple tracks without even making any albums. Isn't an album made off the back of their popularity? But I totally see your point. I don't know, man. I don't think that's necessarily true. Obviously, the music industry is very complex. But like I said, it has to do with like you putting in the work. And I don't take the title super literally either. Making one track does not make you a music producer. So many people, artists that you see that maybe just have a single out, especially new artists, they have other music just because you're seeing it. We have to not consume the music industry like, I saw this tweet a month ago and I like can't get it out of my head, but like people have real teacher sleeps at the school energy. You know, like when you're a kid and you go to school and you think that the teacher sleeps at the school. It's absurd, but when you're a kid and you're looking at it from that perspective, like it kind of makes sense. we have full grown adults acting like the teacher sleeps at the school in terms of like looking at the music industry. Like that's not what's happening. Just because what you see, oh, I see an artist with one track or one single means they only have one track. No, you don't know about the previous projects that they worked on under different names. You don't know about all the demos that they cut that you're never going to hear, that will never get released. Like, and then that expands to like so many other aspects of the music industry. But like, there is this bottom barrel of like amateur conversation about the music industry that professionals are just not having. So if you find yourself in that bottom of the barrel, I would highly recommend you elevate yourself out of it. Can everyone openly join the Zoom meeting? Extreme, if you want to call in, go ahead and call in. I would love to hear from you. But let's keep going with calls because we have a couple more. I want to get Drunk Bishop in here. Let's go. A lot of us are really good at not finishing music, by the way, Hunter. Like, it's something I struggle with as well. Because composing and making stuff is way easier than like the final stages. I don't know. Drunk Bishop, welcome.
Yo, can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Thank you for calling in.
What's up, man? How you doing today?
I am doing well. It's great to hear from you again. How are things where you're at?
Well, right now it's pretty hot in Florida. It's
yes.
They said it feels like 95, and I was like, man, it is just.
That's a muggy 95, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's swampy out here because it's humid. It's like everything's so dewy, and then like all the water reflects, the UV and all that. So it's hot, man.
Yeah.
Hot.
Sheesh.
Well, but yeah, first of all, I want to say, sweet new tat, dude. I didn't even.
Thank you. I showed it off on another stream. I got it like last Monday or something. Well, I have kind of had it under a sleeve for a while. It's at the point where it's right now. It's just starting to peel and stuff too. So I'm not like not like putting it.
Dude, it's
close.
detailed. You got a nice one.
Yeah,
That's a good artist.
This artist is from Korea and he was visiting Los Angeles and he was only around for like a month. And I like this is how like the internet works. This works for musicians and artists. I think he came up on my Explore page or something and I followed him because I thought his art was really cool. I thought his tattoos were really cool. Find out that he's tattooing in LA for a month and then DM'd him there and we were able to set up an appointment. So like that's the beauty of the internet and social media for artists out there. But yeah, it's really detailed.
Positive thing.
It's really detailed and it's like his like original sort of like concept. Like I picked it because it's like his art, like his concept. I didn't come up with the concept and I wanted like that's the first tattoo that I have that's like the artist's idea, artist's piece. Yeah. So it's like carrying around like a piece of art permanently, which I think is cool.
Well, especially if it's like a good art, not to go too far off, but especially if it's like a good artist and
it's like distinct.
You want what they do. It's like make me a song that you would make, not a beat that I would. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like when people start calling themselves like how do you describe what you do? Because I remember when I first started, I was like giddy, excited. I was running to everybody like, hey man, I just made a beat.
Beginner enthusiasm, yeah.
Yes. And you get like a little kid. And really I do anytime a stream starts, man, I'm just excited. I'm like, oh, we get to talk about music. Because man, I don't know people like that around here that want to nerd out about this stuff.
For sure.
At all at this level. So this is like everything to me. So it's like when I finally found this place, it really humbled me because like it wasn't a big deal, like you made one beat and if you really look at it, it was just a drum loop that you stole and just looped for 6 minutes.
Like that's how we all start though. And then and like there's value in that because you do that and you feel a sense of accomplishment and it pushes you to do the next thing. Now of course we all cringe at our beginner selves who go around and say, yo, I'm a music producer, like check out this like that beat where you literally just looped a loop 6 times or whatever. For sure. But it is valuable in that it gets us going, like it kickstarts us.
It does, man, because to me, I feel like as long as you're doing something, anything, you're in some sort of a path, you're taking steps, you're gonna get somewhere. Like you can't just sit there and just be thinking about it all the time, like and then you have no beats. Meanwhile, you could have made like 20 beats if you just entered the ADSR challenge. Like I have so many beats because of that challenge now.
It's crazy. Like all these challenges, which by the way, we have another one coming up. There's a vocal sample to flip in the 343 Labs Discord. I believe the link is in the description people should definitely be partaking in all the challenges that they can, because it's a forcing mechanism. And the call that we just had about finishing stuff, like for me, if I'm going to finish one of my tracks, I'm on my own time. I could like finish or not finish whenever I want. If I'm participating in a challenge with a deadline, that's going to push you to get things done. And it's a real way to help jumpstart your discipline. So yeah, I'm glad to hear like challenges in that are working out for you.
Yeah, and to jump on that, it kind of, for me, man, it's like it gives me a sense of belonging, because it's like, well, you don't want to be the only one that didn't submit anything, do you? Like, you
Yeah,
know what I
it's
mean?
nice
Like,
to have a little social pressure, right?
yeah, it's exactly, dude. You're always hitting the nail on the head. It's social pressure, and it's like I kind of want to get in there. I kind of want people to sort of know who I am and see me kind of come up. Like I'm sure people heard my first beat and they're like, "Dang, man, this guy's at least a little better," you know. And
For sure.
but yeah, that sense of belonging and stuff really crap. Anyway, back to my point of like when you start using the word like, you know, music producer and stuff, I probably didn't even start saying that until like I was too scared to say that until I realized what I was doing. I had worked on enough tracks and been learning, working really hard, following all the videos, making the drum racks, all that stuff, and I was like, man, I've got tracks. I'm making stuff now. I'm making stuff tomorrow. I've got all this stuff I'm doing, and I'm not stopping. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm literally producing music.
Yeah. There you go.
Like-
That's the aha moment. Like that is the thing. I'm literally producing music. I think
Yes.
that is for sure the breakthrough moment, because when you're that beginner and you have produced one thing, you're not really producing music. You just like made one thing. When you sit there and you have that aha moment and you're like, shit, I'm literally producing music and making stuff like every day or like very consistently. That is the moment.
Yeah, and I had to take my mind off of that word, dude. Like I was just chasing that word so much. Like
Right.
I wanted to tell people, look at me, I'm a producer and stuff. And I only had that one little janky beat. And when I took my mind off of that word, like and the fact that how do I explain myself to people? I stopped showing off. I stopped telling everybody every little tiny 2-second loop I did. And I just worked. I just made beats and worked on myself. And then one day I just started showing some finished stuff off, and I was 10 times more proud to say like, yeah, this is what I do, you know, because it's hard. It's like you really want to kind of get that instant reward. And a lot of times you see, dang, not a single like on this track. And then like a year later you realize, well, I probably didn't get any likes because it was just a drum loop.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, like, think of the analogy of like, you know, basketball, right? People train so hard to play basketball, whether in the NBA or college league or like high school league, whatever it is. And then then there's just folks who just go and enjoy playing basketball. They go like on the weekend and they go do a pickup game or whatever. Those people are not going around telling people that they're a basketball player. Those,
You're so right.
They don't go around saying I play basketball. So like, just relate it back to music production. Like, are you the dude who shows up for a once a weekend, you know, pickup game, or are you putting in the work and like actually training and everything you said about like having that aha moment? Like, I'm literally producing music. Like that's the definition. That is the feeling you want to have. And then also, there is that fear. I would say there's probably like this trajectory of you start as with this beginner enthusiasm and you want to tell everybody that you're a music producer. And then as you start building and building your skills, you get more and more worried about telling people that you're like
Absolutely.
not knowing if you should say you're a music producer. And I
Yeah.
would say that that's also a sign that you're probably a music producer too. When that transition from eagerly telling everybody that you're a music producer to now being afraid to call yourself that. I think the
Right.
moment that you're afraid to tell people that, I think that kind of marks that you're putting in some work, because that means you're having some self-reflection and some self-judgment based on work that you're actually doing.
Right, you're actually concentrating on your work because you actually have. It's like that's what the topic is. I'm assuming that, you know, like you have a body of work now to go off of, and once you
Right.
realize like, oh dang, I really do have a little portfolio of
Yeah.
to say who I am in the world. Like, you know, it's like what's in a name. You know, like some people might just. In the beginning, I think for me, there was a splitting point where at first I just kind of wanted the perks,
Right.
You know, but I wanted people to be like, oh, that guy's a producer. Oh, make me a beat. You
It
know,
was
And
it was
nobody
all
did
the
that.
reasons other than
Yes.
having to do with your love of making music.
Yeah, it started with that, and then I was like, I want to. It focused on the perks. I was just like, I want to be known as this guy and stuff. And now I'm like, I don't even give a crap. Like, I found this world of great people out here to talk to about it, and like I feel much more, belonging and stuff. And then once that feeling went away, I was just like, this is just what I do. So if nobody likes it, I'm still gonna be doing this for the rest of my life, because I'm a musician. I've been playing since I was a little boy.
Yeah.
So it's like this is. I've realized what I started wanting. It's not the same anymore. What I do now is I'm like, you know what? I like my aspect of producing music is I like. It's a newer way for me to songwrite. Instead of sitting there with my acoustic, now I can make an orchestra track. If
There
I
you
want.
go. Yeah.
And then yeah. So man, it's just realizing what's in it for you right now.
Absolutely. And then crafting that around you and who you are as an artist. I think you hit the nail on the head there. Thank you so much. That's a great call, my friend. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it.
Yeah, man, it's good talking to you again, dude. It's been a little bit.
Good talking to you as well. Enjoy that muggy Florida heat.
I will, man. Peace out.
Peace out. Yes, another good call. I saw a comment in the chat. Lo-Fi says, I'm not feeling like a producer. I feel like a hobby musician. There's two things there. One, I don't know your particular situation, but I don't want you to be overcritical of yourself. It is that moment, that really objective, honest with yourself moment that Drunk Bishop described, where you can sit there and say, man, I really am making music. I really am making a go of this. I am doing this consistently all the time. And also, the other thing is, I feel like a hobby musician, you should make a conscious decision if you want to be, like these labels don't even matter, right? But like, if you wanted to define yourself as a hobby musician, there's also nothing wrong with that. I know plenty of people that have no aspirations to go do music professionally, but very much enjoy music as a hobby. I've started watercolor painting. I'm not going and telling everybody that I'm a painter because it's just a hobby. And I don't feel any type of way about that. I feel like the internet and judgment and all this stuff, like, you have to define yourself a certain way or something just because you do something. I don't know. It doesn't really make much sense. You should just do it at any level that you're comfortable with and whatever level makes you happy with doing it, whether that's a hobby, whether you want to be professional, whether you want to define yourself as a full-on music producer. Like, you get to decide. Hey, shout out to Hunter Wiley, sorry. Thank you for becoming a member. Oh, the applause from the audience is amazing. We love that. We blew 200 members out of the water not too long ago. I think we got to get to 250, my friends. 250 members when? We are on the road. So if you want to click the join button, I have a couple more calls to take, by the way. Thank you for being patient in the waiting room. Austin, you're going to be up next. If you are able to support the channel, click that join button down below. You can join at any tier. At the beginning tier, you get access to our Discord and the ability to submit music to our feedback streams, which happen every other Saturday. And then at the VIP tier, which is the best tier, I think, you get a free sample pack in addition to the Discord and being able to submit your music. And then the huge supporter tier, it's really a way just to show like a massive amount of support. If you are able to do that, you also get 10% off at controlfreakclub.com, which is my lifestyle and apparel brand for musicians, music producers, creatives, which there will be a new drop coming very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. It's like buying TAETRO a very, very small coffee every month. I appreciate that. Yes, that helps keep the channel going for sure. Let's keep on. Oh, I said I was going to take Austin next. Austin, let's go. Let's get it. Lots of good chat in the chat. Hey, Austin, how's it going? Can you hear me, Austin? I can hear you. Let's give it a moment.
So,
What's up, Austin? Can you hear me? We'll give it one more minute.
oh yeah.
Oh, you can hear me now, Austin? Austin, make sure you mute the stream and that you're listening through Zoom, or else it's going to be on a delay. So just make that switch really quick.
Yo.
One more shot. Austin, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for calling in, Austin. How are you today?
Good, man. How are you?
I am doing well. What do you want to add into this topic? What do you want to chat about today?
I was just curious, like, what's something you recommend doing when you kind of run out of ideas or can't think of what to create?
Well, we're talking music, right?
Yeah, for sure.
There's plenty of other things. I mean, there's plenty of ways to just break out of that creative rut. And sometimes it comes down to breaking your habits and breaking like a common thing, right? Like I work with keyboards a lot. So every time I sit at a keyboard, I play a certain chord a certain way. I just have that habit, right? But what if instead I don't use my MIDI keyboard? Like I don't use a piano keyboard. What if instead I just work by drawing things in on the grid? Or what if I grab like another kind of instrument, like a grid instrument, like a launch pad or something, and work with that? That's one way. So figure out what your current habits are that it's feeling a little bit stale and just try to break out of that. The other thing is trying a genre that you've never worked in before, or trying to infuse genres. So maybe you're like me, maybe you're a lo-fi producer, or maybe you make trap beats, whatever it is. Maybe you try to take that typical thing that you always make, but you want to add like one different ingredient to it. Like you're going to make a trap beat, but it's also going to have like an EDM flair. Or you're going to make a lo-fi beat and it's going to include some hip hop elements, whatever it is. So there's a couple things you can do to break out of that. How, tell me more about like feeling stuck in, you know, what you're kind of going through.
Oh no, man. I just been working on a beat for a while. There's a couple things that like kind of want to improve. Can't think of how to do it type thing. I don't know how to explain it, but
yeah, I think the thing that comes to mind when you say that, you say like I'm working on a beat and I don't know what to do to improve it or like make it better. I would call it a day on that beat and just wrap it up and call it done and move on to the next one. Because if it's not giving you a clear, when I talked about it earlier, when I was working on my track, there was no clear vision for a way I could improve it. That's when I kind of call it done. You know, like it might not be perfect, but it's the best you could do at that moment. And jumping to do another beat is actually going to help you find that thing and improve and approach it differently so that it is a little bit more fresh, and you probably will be inspired to go take it to the next level or improve on the element that you wish you had improved the last track on. So I wouldn't dwell so much on a single track. I would definitely encourage you to call it done, make it the best you can, and then move on to the next one. The other thing that's going to do is if you really commit to yourself and say, I'm going to call this track done, if you have, if you feel like you can't do that, it's going to help you, it's going to help clarify in your mind why you can't do that. Oh, I can't call it done because that one string line sounds off. If I just take that out, it'll sound better. If I just make an adjustment to that, it'll sound better. So now the fact that you are going to force yourself just to finish it in that day or whenever, in that hour, it's a forcing mechanism for your brain to understand, oh, I can't finish it because of XYZ elements. And then if you're still feeling like, oh, I'm going to finish it because I still don't really know what else I can improve on it, then you just call it done because you have nothing specific in your mind. But if that helps you specifically figure something out, I think that that's the beauty of it as well. So try both. Just say, I'm going to finish this track. It's done. I'm going to finish it in this hour. I'm going to finish it in this day. And whatever comes out, comes out. Move on to the next one.
yeah, man, it's good. Hear what you're saying.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for the call, Austin. I hope you do it again in the future.
Yeah, man.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, that forcing mechanism can be helpful. Like, oh, I'm going to be done. I'm going to put it out. Okay, so if you didn't know before what you were going to fix about it, but now you say, oh, I'm going to put it out, suddenly your brain like rearranges all the information and goes, oh, wait, I can't put that out unless something. Lo-Fi says, how long will he stream? Usually we go for about an hour on these shows, Lo-Fi, but if you want to get your call in, I would definitely recommend you get in there. Oh, Yurik is here. Hello, Yurik. Thank you for being here. Drunk Bishop says, I personally listen to, or Bishop91, apologies. I personally listen to music when I'm out of ideas. I go into listening mode and make notes on what I like about certain tracks. That's another thing, seeking inspiration. Extreme, we're going to get you in here on the call in a moment, so get ready for that. Suda says, why did 3 people dislike the stream on YouTube? The thing about doing these streams and these topics that kind of like are meant to be, the topics are 100% meant to be like not controversial, but they're meant to maybe trigger a little bit of something. That's going to draw people that are interested in getting better, but it's also going to draw people that have a remarkable amount of insecurities and don't know how to deal with those insecurities in a positive way. So those people, we see it all the time in comments on any YouTube channel, on any piece of content. People just come through and they show their insecurities so hard by like being so negative on another artist's work. And it's just like very, very obvious. And it's unfortunate, but like those people have to go through a growth cycle. You know, it could be maturity. You don't know. Like there's lots of young people on the internet that don't know, that just don't have the brain capacity at some levels, literally don't have the brain development, brain capacity to deal with certain types of insecurity, or haven't had good examples on how to deal with insecurities, negativity, things that sort of trigger that in their brains. So we don't take it personally around here, you know? What up, Wizlow? Thanks for being here. Okay, let's get Oh, Extreme says, no, don't get me in yet. Yes, you're next. Don't worry, I'm going to give you 1 more minute though. I just want to know if this is the right time to join the meeting to discuss a beginner seeking advice, or should I stick to the topic? Well, don't ask me what MIDI keyboard to buy. I'm bringing you in, Extreme. So let's do it. A few people have had anime avatars on Zoom, which I think is cool. Extreme! I saw that you muted yourself, but welcome to the stream. Thank you for being here. Let's chat. Don't be embarrassed. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello.
Thank you for calling in.
Yay. Sup?
I'm chilling, you know. I think it's been a good call-in show today. What's going on with you? What do you want to chat about?
Yeah, first of all, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself.
Go for it.
I'm 15 and I'm thinking about pursuing music production as a hobby. I've been watching a lot of videos of yours recently, and
Thank you.
I just love your content. It's awesome.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I just I've seen I wouldn't ask what a MIDI controller is. I've seen your videos and like understood some of the basic stuff like VSTs and stuff. But right now I really don't exactly know where to start, you know.
Well, what DAW are you using?
I've gotten a free trial of Ableton Live.
Perfect.
And Studio 1.5.
Awesome. Who are some of your favorite artists? What kind of music do you like to make?
I absolutely love EDM.
Amazing. Well, who are a couple artists that you like? Are you still there? I lost your audio, my friend, unfortunately. Give you a minute to come back in. I don't know if a mic got disconnected or what, but I don't.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
Yeah, the light just went out, so I switched to my hotspot.
Okay. Well, you like EDM. Who are a couple of your favorite artists?
My favorite, there's this record label by the name of No Copyright Sounds and Monster Cat, and most of the artists that perform under Monster Cat are like my favorite ones, like Throttle, and there's Slushy. Some of these, yeah.
This is what I think you should do, is you should pick 5 of those artists, or 5 tracks that you like off of artists on that label that you really, really like. And I think you should sit there with a notebook and really write down all the elements that you like from each one of the tracks. So you go track 1, and then you literally just start listing things that you really like about the tracks, whether it's the synth sound, whether it's the structure, make certain notes, what makes those tracks special. At the end of doing that for 5 tracks, what you're going to find is that there's some things that are super common across the 5 tracks. You might be able to circle, a particular element, like, oh, they all use this kind of lead synth or whatever it is. Maybe that not, but maybe 4 out of 5 of them do. You circle that, boom. And what you have after that is you have this list of things, especially all the things that the tracks have in common, or that multiple of the tracks have in common, all the things that you want to incorporate into your music. And then you can even go even more finite than that. If once you have all those elements, great. You want to reverse engineer, figure out how they made those certain sounds, how they did those things that you think are really special in that music. Go watch a ton of interviews, go watch a ton of tutorials to figure all that out. But then you pick one of those tracks and you say you're going to study the arrangement of the track. And you just sit there with a notebook and you write, okay, 4-bar intro, drum break, then first verse section, then it goes into a build up section, and then it goes to this half speed drop. Like I literally want you to sit there and just write that out. Once you write that out, you go into your DAW and you literally not remake the same track, but you just completely, you basically copy that structure with all the elements that you listed before that you really like. Copy the structure, follow it to the T. You can, of course, go off in your own directions if you want, but that gives you a set of rules. Like, you want to create this set of rules for yourself. When you first start music production, it feels like you want to go off and just do everything. You have the Ableton Live trial. I'm sure it's very easy to go in and just pick any synth and pick any effect or whatever, because there's so many of them. But what you're going to figure out is that in the music that you like, there's a rule set. There's a way to get that particular sound. It's what makes them special. It's a good thing. So the sooner you can figure out what those rules are that you need to follow to make that kind of music, the sooner you will get to making the kind of music that you actually like. And you don't have to copy it completely. And that's not to say that you need to stick to those rules, because you might be following those, but then have your own idea to layer on top of that. And then that's totally fine. You should do that, because that's how you're going to make something original. But for now, especially for a beginner and wondering where to start, you got to just completely emulate some of the artists that you really like. And I think that electronic musicians and music producers are kind of at a deficit when it comes to this in comparison to other musicians, because, for me, coming from a pop punk, like rock music background, you can buy a guitar. A guitar is a guitar, no matter basically what brand you buy. If I wanted to go learn a Fall Out Boy song or something, and I buy an electric guitar, I could probably emulate a Fall Out Boy song really well. If you want to be a music producer and you want to emulate this very particular artist, there's so much research to be done, and there's so much, a little bit more is going to go into figuring out what synth did they use, how did they do the sound design, what program are they even using. There's just so many other elements to emulate it. So I think as electronic musicians, if we're new and we're just starting out and we want to make a certain sound, even if you're not new and you just want to try a new genre, you have to try to emulate the artists that you like to learn the techniques. If nothing else, then just to learn the techniques to go to apply it to your own music. You should be emulating the artists that you really like.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'll keep note of that.
Yeah. I definitely recommend that as a way to start. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Not really right now. So
cool.
I guess, yeah, this is kind of enough for me for now. I'll just keep note of it and try to follow it.
Perfect.
And thank you. I just really needed this advice, man.
Yeah, well, you should go for it, and you can totally do it. And the advantage you have, sometimes I ask people, what music do you really like? What music do you really wish you make? And they just say a big genre or something, and you having that specific, these artists on this label, that is going to be a huge advantage to you, because you have a real focus. That, take that as an advantage and run with it as much as you can.
Okay. Thank you, buddy.
Have a good one, my friend. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
Perfect timing on that. I did not spin the wheel. I know I saw people saying spin, 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 but I appreciate that. Are there rules sort of like genres, says Chrissy? There are rules. Every genre has a rule. And rules are, of course, meant to be broken. But to go back to the rock, if I want to do a rock song, if I want to make a rock song, what are the rules, instrumentation-wise? Guitar, drums, bass, singer. Okay, that's the basic rules. Are there deviations from that? Yes, of course, but that's the starting point, right? If I said, I don't know, put a banjo in that, it takes it to being something different. Like if I just, like that's what beginners do. They go into their Ableton Live instrument library or their instrument library on their DAW, and they just pick random shit and throw it in, when really it's like, oh, you were trying to make a Dead Mouse song and then you threw a banjo on it. It's like, what? So at the end of the day, when you export that track and you wish that, your track sounded like a Dead Mouse track and you feel disappointed that it doesn't, look back and say, oh, it's probably because I added this freaking random banjo in there. It's probably because I just did the beginner thing and just grabbed random stuff and threw it in. You gotta just like apply the rules to yourself and figure out what those rules are. They can be broken though. So if you feel good about making a Dead Mouse song that also features banjo, and that's your creative vision, and that's what you want to do, and you export it and you feel good about it, fantastic, do that. But if your goal was to make a Dead Mouse-esque track and you throw some random shit on it, it's not going to sound good. Don't go random. Quick question, can't call in. Could TAETRO talk quick about how he releases a track? Sure. Well, I've got a new track called Coast coming out in a couple weeks. The pre-save link will be ready very soon, so get ready for that. But there's also a DistroKid link in the description, which if you want to release all your music on streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok even, you can sign up for DistroKid, release as much music as you want in a year, sign up for a plan. Links in the description, you can save 7%. I have other music out on streaming platforms as well, so go hype that music up and all that stuff. I hope that will answer the question. Thanks for the advice, bud. I forgot to mention, love your content. How often do you do call-in streams? I do call-in streams. It depends if we have a guest or not. Usually, we kind of do the call-in streams pretty often on Tuesdays because, I don't know, they're slightly more popular than the interviews, I would say. But if you guys have suggestions for people you want to see on the show for interviews, let me know in the chat. Irina says, nice nails, TAETRO. Thank you. I will never do my own nails again because this is a nightmare. Like, it's just a mess. I will 100% go to a place because this is freaking... I did it bad. I didn't do it myself the first time, and I tried it myself for the first time. Oy, what a nightmare. Mad appreciation. Hello in France. Big up, TAETRO. Good job. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. Let's keep scrolling through the chat. All right, that's going to be it. Oh, we have one more caller. Is this Ed? Is this Ed Oyama? We'll do one more caller and then we'll be out. Emmett says interview Andrew Wong. I think Andrew Wong is busy or in space. Hello,
What's
Ed.
up?
What's up, Ed? How are you?
Am I on?
You are live.
What up?
Thanks for being here. Ed, your service is not good. You're driving. You're going through a tunnel, I think.
So I'm not wanted to call. Thanks for answering that question. Okay. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Barely. You're breaking up a little bit. Are you driving? Streaming and driving? He's auto-tuned. Yeah, exactly, Wislow. Ed, I don't think it's going to work out. I think the service is no good. But we'll have to get you on the next one, Ed. That's a great way to end the show, I would say. Oh, you're back. Barely. Don't stream and drive, dude, says Boguna. Ed, I'll get you next time, my friend. I apologize. It was not coming in good. We weren't getting you. That's going to be it for today's show. If you want to hear more from Ed Oyama, though, click on his name in the chat because he is doing live streams pretty regularly on his channel. Ed, we'll get you next time because I know I want to talk to you more about doing your streams and stuff, and I think it's really cool. But if anybody wants to go back and sample that from the stream, I think that would be a good idea. Thanks, was a great show. Peace and love, everybody. Suru, I just saw you there. Thank you for being here, Suru, with that awesome membership badge. Folks, before we leave today, I'll let you know about a couple things in the pipeline. First of all, I I already talked about the new track that's going to come out in a couple weeks. I'll be sure to push that out a bit more. Second of all, it's the last day of August, which means tomorrow is September, which of course means that October is quickly approaching. And you know what we do? We do Beattober every October. Beattober is a challenge where I challenge you all to make a beat video every single day, 31 beat videos in the month of October. And I want this Beattober to be the biggest and best Beattober ever. So there's going to be a few things. There's going to be an exclusive limited merch drop for Beattober. There is going to be, let's see what else. There's going to be a cause. Beattober is going to be for a cause this year, which I will announce soon. There is going to potentially be an auction for some custom gear. All this is going to be for a cause. So I'm not saying what the cause is because I want to get the official green light, but I will let you all know as soon as I do. The merch, the limited merch will go on sale before Beattober actually happens. So it'll go on sale maybe mid-September. So get ready for that, because if you want the swag to wear in your Beattober videos, you're going to want to get it in advance. And there's going to be limited numbers. Potentially could do a Beattober sample pack. Potentially. I'm thinking about that. What else? What am I missing? Type it in chat, Joseph McCaffrey. But anyway, all this is to say, I want you all to be ready to participate in Beattober, because I want it to be the biggest Beattober yet. Eric Diaz is counting the hours for the next music theory video. Yes, I'm going to hopefully have that out really soon. Second week of September, I think that comes out. Charity, merch. Yes, Amit Silva says, I'm in. 343 Labs Sample Challenge, TAETRO. Yes, the 343 Labs Sample Challenge is coming up in a couple weeks. Make sure you're part of the 343 Labs Discord to participate. Community streams. Yes, we'll be doing in October. We'll be doing a weekly Beattober stream to review everybody's beats. I hope I can get a couple friends to join me on those streams to help judge and rate the beats. Get ready for that. Yeah, I just hope you're all ready. It's going to be a fun next couple months. I mean, once we roll into October, it's going to be hectic. It's going to be a lot of work, but I want everybody to push themselves. When I did Beattober the first time 2 years ago, I didn't make it a community event. I just kind of did it myself. And it pushed me a lot to learn a lot about my process and making music. And then last year, doing it with the community was even better. This coming year, I hope it becomes even bigger. That's going to be it, though. Stay tuned for more TAETRO Radio Podcast. If you're looking for more inspiration on every streaming platform, you can hear Joseph McCaffrey's voice, if you can believe that. Just go on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever podcast app you use, type in TAETRO Radio, and you will find it. Music with the community for cause. You heard that. Beattober 2021 coming soon, so prep it. Guess what? I won't know. If you start making Beattober videos now and don't release them until October, I won't know. So if you want to get a jump on it, if you want to get ahead of it, do it. Okay, my friends, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for joining me today. What happens if I push this button? Oh, nice. Good times, good times. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff to keep up. Big announcements coming soon. That's going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.